Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we have another episode of Battle of the Blades featuring the Kizer Lieb versus the Civivi Odium. Now, before I go any further into this review, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you all the content. Now, with that being said, I do have someone to thank for this matchup here. My buddy Lavender Pants over on Instagram, Lavender Pants 86 to be exact, suggested this matchup, and I thought it was a really, really good one because looking at these two knives and just putting them, face to face, they have some similarities. They're both great knives, but it is a very, very interesting matchup. And as you all know, we have 7 categories: blade, handle, ergos, value, carry, quality, action, and aesthetics. I will deliberate on each knife, give a point where the point is due, and at the end of the match, we will have ourselves a winner, hopefully. And one more thing I want to add before I hop into this matchup, I'm going to be linking knives as much as I can moving forward. So this video, these knives are both available. They are linked in the bottom of the description of this video. So if either one of these knives seems to really suit your fancy, hop on there, follow that link, and pick yourself one up. I'm going to obviously have them both linked. It depends how they're linked. Sometimes there's just a drop-down box where you can drop down and select the color and make and model you want, for example, like the Civivi Odium. But then when it comes to the Kizer Lieb, Kizer's making a lot of really cool drops of this knife. This is actually my favorite. We'll talk more about that when we get to the matchup. But then there's a lot of other colorways, all blacked out, the translucent G10 with the satin blade, not a black blade, but the G10 like this. A lot of options for this, so I'll link multiple options for this Lieb, and there's probably just going to be one option for the Odium, but then I think there'll be a drop-down box to select the color you want, I think. But take a look at the links after this video, guys, and they should be pretty easy to follow. Now, with that being said, let's get right into it because these, like I said, these are two great knives that they really do match up together extremely well. First, let's get into the blade, and let's start with the Lieb. We have a full flat grind with an edge coming in at 15 thousandths and a blade stock of 0.10 inches. So as you can see, pretty thin blade and a super thin edge. This blade is made out of N690, which I think, as we all know, is a very good corrosion-resistant steel. It holds a okay, so it takes a very good edge. It holds a sharp edge for a little while, but it doesn't quite have the edge retention that the Odium has here. The Odium has an edge coming in at 16 thousandths with a 0.11 inch thick stock, and this material here is D2. Now, D2 has its disadvantages, but it also has a big advantage of edge retention. D2 has, from my experience, significantly better edge retention than N690, but N690 is no slouch. You really have to kind of factor that into your day-to-day uses and requirements. What's better in the trade-off? Is it the corrosion resistance of the N690, or is it the better edge retention in the D2? Really depends on where you live and, just what you subject your knives to. But this one here, like, these blades are pretty similar as far as behind the edge thinness, which is always really important to me. I'm going to give the slight edge to the Lieb in this round, only because I do prefer N690 over D2. When it comes to the sliciness of both these blades, they're both good. They're both pretty close, but I also like the full flat grind of the Lieb. This has a flat grind, but as you can see, it's the farthest thing from full. You have the cutout up here, and it has a flat. So definitely a slicier blade in the Lieb, and it's a little thinner, and I like that N690 steel. So I'm going to give that point to the Lieb, but it's a little closer than you guys may think. This D2 does offer some good qualities as far as, a blade you can really beat on pretty good. You can't necessarily beat the heck out of N690. You can, but it's going to wear down quicker. The D2 will last. But like I said, point goes to the Lieb in the blade category. Now off to handle and ergos. You have the Lieb that, really, it's not bad. It's, to me, the Lieb is a little more of a fifth pocket knife, but it's also got plenty of cutting power and everything to make it a primary carry for some people. But when it comes to the Ergos, they really do feel pretty good. These proud liners that are just real slippery, they're not close enough to the micarta. I wish they'd knock these liners down a little or bring the micarta scale out a little. But regardless, you do feel a little more slipperiness than I personally would want when it comes to really gripping a knife. But now when you get to the Odium, yeah, I'm just gonna say it right now. The point goes to the Odium for handling Ergos, and it's really not even close. It actually blows the Lieb out of the water because you guys know it's got the Ferrum Forge Ergos. It's got that nice finger choil, and really when it comes to usable amount of blade, it doesn't have. It really has about. How can I do this here? Kind of just roll it up. Yeah, it has pretty much the exact same amount of usable blade length as the Lieb, and you get that nice finger choil to really get in there and do that detail work, or just really have a little more, little, depending on the user, that you have more control of the blade with that nice finger choil, and I like that a lot. And it just feels great. I mean, this is a full 4-finger grip for me when I'm using the finger choil, and I will always use the finger choil on this knife. There would never be a situation where I use it like this. I'm just going to be honest. I'm always going to use that finger choil because it feels fantastic. The jimping's good. So the handle and Ergos go to the Odium in a bit of a landslide. Now, when it comes to value, this one's really tough, and it again comes down to a bit of a user preference. You have the Lieb with a price of $55, and for that $55, you're getting N690 and micarta, which when it comes to these two knives, really that's the two, excuse me, that's the two main things that you're going to be putting up to determine the value. Outside of quality is a separate category though. So you have N690 and micarta on the Lieb, and for the Odium, you have D2 and G10 for $52.70. So that leaves you with a difference of $2.30. Me personally, I'm totally happy paying that extra $2.30 for the pretty nice micarta and N690 on the Lieb. So I'm gonna give it to the Lieb. It's really close, and if that $2.30 is a big difference, and it could be for some people, you know what? Then the Odium is fine too. But I personally, I like the little extra effort that Kizer went to in sourcing this micarta and cutting it a different way to give a really nice grainy look, and it looks fantastic with that blue collar. So I'm going to give the point to the Lieb when it comes to value. But again, this is another one that's really close. You're splitting hairs. So there's that. The value goes to the Lieb. Now, when it comes to carry, this one is kind of tricky. So with the Lieb, with the Lieb and the Odium, both of the top of these knives show. When you carry them in the pocket, even though the Odium has a deep carry clip, you're still going to see a little of the knife. You're going to see a little bit of the tip coming up. And again, neither one of these are the end of the world for me, because you'll have, let's say, about that much showing on the Odium, and you're going to have about that much showing on the Lieb. So you're going to have more showing on the Lieb. But this is the thing. There's just literally no difference. At least as far as I'm concerned. You close these knives up, you look at the profile of them, so they're sitting in your pocket, and, what is what? It makes no difference to me, so it's a tie. This one's got to be a tie. I don't see any advantages or disadvantages to one or the other. There just isn't. So with that being said, that's a quick tie. And these both, in all honesty, they both carry pretty well. They're both relatively thin knives. I do believe the Odium is maybe a little thinner, but you have a little more bulge with the pocket clip. So again, there's really no knife has a head over the other, so that's a tie. Going into quality. Quality is another one that's very close, because Civivi, we all know, Civivi is the best company for budget knives when it comes to quality on a knife. It is what it is. But then you also have Kizer, who does make some really, really, really high quality knives that these days, aren't much more expensive, if at all more expensive, than Civivi's. So when it comes to quality, again, you really had to, I had to take these knives apart. And I should probably specify that. I did have to take these knives apart I had the Odium significantly longer than I did this Lieb, and I had already took the Odium apart, so to only be fair, I had to take the Lieb apart. And when I took the Lieb apart, I found a little more crud on the inside of the bearings, so I cleaned that up. It made the action a lot better. But again, the crud in the bearings, that does obviously come down to quality. And the Civivi was pretty clean. Civivis are always so clean. When you open them up and give them your first cleaning and lubing, they're super, super clean on the inside, which is just insane to me, thinking how many knives they make. And I'm sure there's a lot of hands touching it, a lot of, that you bring in the human element to assembly, and things just naturally get dirty. That's just the way it is. But yeah, got to give the point to the Odium, but by the slimmest margins, only because of what I found when I opened the two knives up to clean them. Literally it. Other than that, quality on both of these guys are really just spot on. I mean, they come razor sharp out of the box. Fit and finish is pretty impeccable considering what you're paying. And I don't really have any other nitpicks about either knife when it comes to quality. So very good job done by Kizer and Civivi there. Now, let's go to the action. And again, this is another one. It's so tough. This is a great matchup because you have the Lieb, which in my opinion is the snappiest flipper ever. And I mean ever. I can't think of any other blade with the detent and the weight and size that makes a blade come out like this. I mean, it almost just appears. It's like it doesn't even flip out. It's just there. It's so awesome. It is very, very addictive, very fidgety for nothing but a flipper. It's extremely fidgety, and it's so, so nice. You don't really have a lot of it doesn't really drop shut. You got to shake it pretty good, but again, it's just a super light blade, so it just is what it is. But then when you get to the Odium, you can do all sorts of things. You can Spidey flick it. You can, obviously do just the regular flip, and the flip is really good. If these were both just flippers, the Lieb would win in an absolute landslide. I mean, it wouldn't even be close. But since you have that Spidey flicking capability of the Odium, that's very, very attractive to anyone that likes to fidget with their knives. And I was stuck on this one for a long time. But then I thought to myself, what do I like more? Do I like to middle finger flick, or do I like to flip? I do like the combination. I always like, you guys know me, I love multiple deployment options. So the Odium it really closes the margin. But when it comes to this flipping action on the Lieb, I mean it when I say this. It's the most unique flipping action, especially for a small knife. But I've never experienced a flipping action on a knife like this before, ever. And I couldn't be more serious when I say that. Yes, there's a lot of other knives that are great flippers, but none like this. It's just a real crisp, snappy click, and boom, it's there. When you clean this thing up and lube it, it is fantastic. And it really is addictive, and I'm going to ever so slightly give the point to the Lieb in this category, and I didn't think I would. When I was just kind of roughly thinking about this in my head, I had already given this point to the Odium. But then, the detent on this is great. It's a Civivi detent, so you know it's going to be good. But the detent is just so crisp. It is the perfect level of strong, but not too strong. So it just whips right out. It sounds great, feels great. I got to do it. I got to give the point to the Lieb. And I also have, there's a lot of knives that Civivi makes you can Spidey flick. So it's not a super, super unique thing going on here. I have a lot. And usually another thing that I'll do is I'll usually carry the Lieb as a fifth pocket knife. And there's a very good chance the knife I'll be carrying along with it, my primary carry, I can Spidey flick. So I'll still have that fidget factor if I want it throughout the day. So I know this was kind of a weird way I came to this result, but I do have to give that point to the Lieb for action. But they both have fantastic action. Now on to the aesthetics. I have no issue aesthetically with either one. I honestly thought the Lieb looked a little goofy when I first saw it come out, but once I got it in hand, once one of my younger brothers bought one and let me borrow it, once I got this guy in hand, I had to have one myself. And once I bought it and started carrying it, all of a sudden, I think it looks great. It wore off on me. So I do like the looks of the Lieb a lot. But when it comes to aesthetics, I really do have to give it to the Odium. I am a Ferrum Forge fan. I do love their designs. I think they do a really good job. I think Civivi did a fantastic job of taking a Ferrum Forge design and just putting that ever so slight touch of Civivi into it. It takes the cake for me. I do like the design of the Odium a little more, by just a little, and they're so different too. It's really hard to, like I said, you can't really knock one or the other. This is personal preference. There may be a lot of people saying, wait, no, the Lieb's got this one, and I don't disagree with you. But to everyone else saying, no, the Odium is looks a lot better, I don't disagree with you either. But personally, I got to give it to the Odium. So what do we have here? We have a tie. We have a 3-3-1 tie, the first tie in Battle of the Blades. And I wasn't sure what to do when it came to a tiebreaker, so I thought to myself, which one do I carry more than the other? And that's the Kizer Lieb. So there's going to be a little, may not everyone be happy with this, but hey, you know what? I carry the Lieb more, so I'm going to give this win in a tiebreaker to the Kizer Lieb, because it really is just a super, super underrated, slicey little knife that I think is absolutely fantastic. There's very few times, guys, when any budget brand beats a Civivi. So it's a big deal. I mean, at least on this channel. I mean, for what it's worth. But I really do like this Lieb, and I really do like the Odium. You can't go wrong buying either one. You really cannot. It comes down to what you like better. But for me, in this matchup, it goes to the Kizer Lieb. Let me know what you think, guys. Do you like the Lieb better? Do you prefer the Civivi Odium? Which one floats your fancy the best? So let me know. I look forward to hearing your guys' thoughts and opinions on that. Check down the link below for both these knives. Pick one up if you have to, if you like one enough to do that. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.